Welcome to MJ Game Chat. On today's radar is 5 Parsecs from Home. 5 Parsecs from Home, and the whole series is by author Ivan Sorensen, Nordic Weasel Games. Make sure I say that. So I want to talk a little bit about 5 Parsecs with you guys. I know that there are several 5 Parsecs from Home fans on my channel. And I just recently tried Bug Hunt. It was my very first game ever. And I was training. It was a training game. So I didn't use all the rules for Bug Hunt. I like to increment little by little. So the next game I pour in more rules. The next game I pour in more rules. It's just the way I learn. And it's the best way for me to learn the game. And I actually took that idea from the 5 Parsecs from Home training packet that author Ivan Sorensen put into the 5 Parsecs game, 2nd edition. So a couple of important points. First, this is dealing with 5 Parsecs 2nd edition. Whenever I refer to it, I do have my 3rd edition book coming, and I'm very excited about it. This is a great game. And but for now, I'm still on 2nd edition. So when I refer to 5 Parsecs, that's what I mean in this video. But Bug Hunt. So what are some of the things that are similar to 5 Parsecs, but yet different, right? And what are some of the really different core mechanics of this game? Very important is sometimes I have referred to Bug Hunt, 5 Parsecs Bug Hunt as an expansion. That's not really correct. 5 Parsecs from Home Bug Hunt is actually a standalone game. And I suspect, for those of you that have played the other games like Salvage Cruise and the other ones, there's one about the Starport Scum. For those of you that have played all those, you can tell me better. I'm assuming that they're also like their own game system. Now they're all compatible with 5 Parsecs, the core rules, right? So if I have characters in Bug Hunt, I could transfer them to 5 Parsecs and vice versa. Now, when they come out of Bug Hunt, they're going to be pretty good veterans, because this game is very, very challenging, as what I can see. All right, so the terrain types. In both rules, if you look at your 5 Parsecs from Home 2nd edition, the terrain types are the same in Bug Hunt and 5 Parsecs, meaning the terrain types. So you have like linear terrain, area terrain, these kinds of things. The author puts it in nice categories. Okay, so now the difference in Bug Hunt for terrain, we're still on the terrain topic. The difference in Bug Hunt is that you have a very small table that indicates that when line of sight is stopped. When you reach a terrain feature, right, you check the table and then see if line of sight can continue or if it's stopped right there by the terrain. So you have to use your own judgment, of course, depending on your terrain and the situation and everything else. But that's a slight difference from the original Bug Hunt. I'm sorry, the original 5 Parsecs. It's a little bit early, guys. So in the original 5 Parsecs, you know, it's very straightforward. You make the same kinds of decisions about terrain you're going to do with Bug Hunt. But in 5 Parsecs, one thing I've learned as I've played that game is cover is extremely important in 5 Parsecs from Home, right? Because, you know, your enemies are going to be shooting at you, and you know that because of the core mechanics, 5 Parsecs is very killy. Your guys are going to suffer if you don't take cover. I learned that the hard way. With this game, it's interesting because, yes, cover is important. Terrain is very important. But because of the mechanic that we're going to talk about, the detection mechanic, the marker mechanic, or contact mechanic, that is the appropriate word. Because of the contact mechanic, and because of the fact that bugs don't shoot at you, they want to get into a brawl at any cost with your guys, it changes things because they're going to come up close and personal. That's one very important thing about 5 Parsecs Bug Hunt, is they're looking to get up close and personal chomp you up, basically. All right, so that, moving on from that. Now, the game turn is structured very similar in both games, okay? In 5 parsecs, you have the quick phase, the normal phase, and then the slow phase. And in the normal phase is where the enemies react, right? In this game, they just call it the alien phase instead of the normal phase. So it's quick phase, alien phase, slow phase in Bug Hunt. Same thing, really, just different names to really tell you when the aliens move, right? Snapfire. Snapfire is an interesting rule in Bug Hunt. We don't get this in 5 parsecs, as far as I remember. You don't get anything in like that. But please let me know if there is, or if you have the 3rd edition book, let me know. I know that 3rd edition changes some things, right? I think so. I don't have the book yet. I want to review the book and check it out. But if you do have your 3rd edition 5 parsecs, let me know what's one change you think that's way different from 2nd edition, if there is some, right? But anyway, Snapfire and Bug Hunt, you don't take an action in the quick phase in order to fire when an enemy moves in the alien phase. That's pretty good because in Bug Hunt, you need that. You need as many opportunities you have to take down that enemy because they're all over you. And the mechanic is designed in such a way that these guys just keep coming. So Snapfire is a nice little rule that the game uses to give you a little bit of a helping hand. Believe me, you need it. If the character fires on an alien in the alien phase, he then cannot move in the slow phase. So basically, Snapfire, you're getting one action to use, right? And it's going to be a firing action. And if you don't use in the alien phase, you can move or shoot in the slow phase, but not both, right? So, interesting. Now, in terms of combat, one interesting thing I found about Bug Hunt, keep in mind that a lot of these things I did not use in my first game. So I'm actually going over rules that I'm going to be using in the next game. I didn't use them in the last game because I'm still wrapping my mind around the game. So the combat team rules, +1 reaction if they are information. This is interesting about Bug Hunt is you get a team rule, right? You get guys that can be recruited into your crew temporarily, right? Depending on your priority that you choose for the mission and all that. You have control of a lot of these things, by the way. That's one thing I love about Ivan Sorensen's games is you get a lot of control about the difficulty of the game, the decisions you make, everything. It's very cool. The mechanics do not hinder you. On the contrary, right? So anyway, you get these combat teams. They're temporary, and they support you. These are guys like it could be a sergeant and a couple of troopers, right? And they'll join your team temporarily for that game as a support group, and you can choose to have them move as a fire team. When you do that, it's like one of these group actions that you see in other games, right? They get a +1 reaction roll, right? +1 to their reaction roll if they're moving together. If they are information, but they need to stay at a 2-inch cohesion distance from each other in order to qualify for that. But it's excellent because, as I said, aliens are going to be coming from everywhere. You need as much help as you can get in this game. And that's good. I like that. It's very challenging. All right. Let's go to the last thing that I want to talk about Bug Hunt. And this will satisfy the video that I said I would do in the last game. I said I would do a little video on Bug Hunt discussing it. And again, this is very superficial, guys. All right, this is a very superficial discussion. We're not getting very, very deep into the game. Okay, so I'm just highlighting some of the things that I noted right off the bat from studying the rules in Bug Hunt and from playing that first game. Detecting markers. Very important. Something I didn't do in the last game, and that was more because I forgot to do. When one of your player figure moves or finishes its movement, right? Once it finishes its movement, you check for contact marker detection. Now, what are contact markers? This is important, and this is where the core mechanics of Bug Hunt is. You're going to need some kind of marker, and it's going to represent the motion trackers that your guys are carrying, all the beeps and sounds that it makes as things are closing in. It's going to represent footsteps. It's going to represent alien hissing sounds, right? Think aliens. You think aliens in this game, especially the second movie from Cameron, right? Where the aliens are all around the colonial marines and the guys like freaking out with the beeps as the beeps get louder and faster. That's exactly what this game feels like. It's really cool. So you're going to need those markers, and those markers are going to represent aliens, right? Whatever bugs you have. You will have a table in the book that you roll on. Once, if those markers have been identified by your guys, when they come within a certain distance, which is 6 inches away from a trooper, if there's no cover, and if there's cover, you assume that the aliens are hiding around the cover, so that distance is cut to half. It becomes 3 inches when they're finally revealed, okay? So, but after one of your guy moves, you're going to check for detection. And there's a little table that tells you how to do that. Now, okay, so you're not going to know what those detection markers represent until they're close to you, until they're revealed. Then you roll on the table and voila, there's the creature, right? So you're never going to know what's coming up towards you. And that's where the tension really begins. As one of my subscribers said when they watched the little Bug Hunt training game, you know, they said you could feel the tension as the blips get closer. And yeah, it's really cool. Now, one major mistake I did in that game is you never remove the contact markers from the table. If anything, they keep coming. So if anything, you're going to be adding a couple of markers to the table. You never remove them from the table like I was doing. Like anytime a marker identified as an alien, you don't remove it from the table. So basically, okay, so also those contact markers, those little markers that you're going to choose, they are spread about the table. There are rules for that, and it's going to be related to your objective markers, right? There'll be a contact marker by every objective marker, and then there are other few rules for placing them on the table in the very beginning of the game. You will be rolling to see whether the behavior of the alien represented by that marker is either aggressive or by chance, meaning the movement. Is it aggressive movement or is it movement by chance? So you're going to have 2 little D6 dice. One of them is going to be a dark color. One of them is going to be a light color. And you roll them. If the black dice, which is the aggression dice, rolls higher, that means the aliens are going to move towards your closest trooper. Closest trooper. If the red dice or white dice, whatever it is you chose as your light chance dice, rolls higher, it wins. The alien's going to move randomly. So then you can use a 10-sided dice with the point, right? And wherever that point goes, that is where the alien's moving, right? And it'll make a full move, so whatever their move is. Markers behave very much like actual alien creatures. They always want to get into a brawl. They, when you move the markers, and I wasn't consistent between the turns in the last game, I don't think. When you move the marker, you start with the closest marker to your guy and you move back, right? So to the other markers. If you roll even and evenly, let's say the aggression dice and the chance dice, if they roll evenly, right, both of them roll a 2, then you take a new contact marker and place it on top of the old one that you were rolling for, right? So that's what I mean. In this way, the aliens, you're not going to be removing contact markers. The aliens are just always coming in towards you, right? So, yeah. Now, I have to read the book a little more. Like I said, this is not an in-depth kind of thing. I'm doing a very... this is a shallow overview as well as a first impression, right? This is not an in-depth analysis of the rules. So bug hunt, what are some of the other things I can say? As I said, one very important thing is bug hunt. The term bug is very loose. You don't have to have all bugs as aliens, right? Like actual literal bugs. I do because I like that whole Starship Trooper thing, right? Starship Troopers, or maybe even in Aliens, even though they weren't really bugs. But you can have whatever you want to represent your bugs. If you want space zombies, you go ahead. Space zombies it is. You know, killer robots, well, that's what it is. You know, basically you choose. That word is very loose. You know, I'm thinking of doing like some kind of alien reptile in the future that's social and kind of lives in a caste system like ants, and kind of use that and make some cool conversions and things like that. So you can use whatever you want, you know. But I like to envision that whole Starship Trooper thing where the bugs are literally bugs, and you have, because when we think of bugs, we think of like locusts and bees and wasps and all these social insects that come in swarms. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm going to have a little bug hunt ecology video coming soon, and that's just me putting up some of my ideas and turning it into a little narrative, right? And just showing you the kinds of models and things that I'm using for bug hunt, and just give like a little ecology, a little fake ecology about like, well, where these bugs live and how they behave and all this stuff. And I'm using the material in bug hunt for that as well. So we'll see. Okay, a very important tactical locations. That's something I didn't talk about, and that's something I didn't use in my last game. All the things that I've mentioned, contact markers, some of the, like the snapfire rule, the team formation rule, those things are different from the 5 parsecs core rules in 2nd edition, right? That I played, that you see mostly me playing. And so these are things that really make bug hunt stand out. So tactical locations, this is going to be represented by markers as well. And I didn't use this because, again, this is one of the things that I omitted so I can wrap my head around contact markers, because those are the rules I really want to learn. That's the meat of bug hunt. Tactical locations are important though, because they could benefit your crew. Now, tactical location marker represents a site and a situation of value to your force, and that's quoting in part the book. So things like computer consoles. And if you play Stargrave, you have those markers already, right? Little computer consoles or data chip, whatever. If you play Stargrave, you have those counters already. So yeah, computer monitors that maybe your crew can go up and it activates something that helps you. Sometimes you can remove a contact marker off the board with a tactical location. So they are important in the rules. Also, it could represent maybe sealing off a tunnel so that the aliens, if you're playing in a maze-like area, and that's something I want to try too. I played in a jungle area last time because it's very different. But you don't have a lot of control in jungles, right? Unless you're saying that a tactical marker represents, say, a fallen tree, like a big tree that you blast to kind of seal off some kind of path. Well, of course, bugs can climb over that though. So, you know, it's harder in a jungle. But it can represent a bunch of things. And I'm sure if we get our minds together, you can probably, in a jungle setting, represent a lot of different things for tactical locations. But inside, let's say, a starship or inside a complex, tactical locations can represent a bunch of things. I made these modular walls with doors that open and close. So a tactical location could actually represent trying to hack the little controls of the door to seal it shut or to open it, right? So a very important thing, and it is something that I want to add to my next game. I just want to see if I have all the important points that I want to talk about. So we talked about aggression and chance. Contact markers are also very important. Is they don't follow normal terrain rules. So they're going to be moving around terrain, through terrain, doesn't matter. So again, it's a very different feel, very tense feel as you see all these markers coming towards you. And a few of them start at your objective markers. So they're going to be right in the areas that you need to go to grab the objective. So very challenging game. Let me just give you my closing remarks. Bug Hunt, I highly recommend it if you want something challenging. If you have a lot of miniatures and you can represent your bugs whichever way you want, you know, it's a very interesting game, and it has a lot of areas to explore. So this is one of my favorite rules, I think, within the 5 parsec system, although there are others. Salvage Crew, I want to try. I've never tried. I'm studying some of the rules for Salvage Crew as well, and that's a very interesting kind of theme for 5 parsecs. So you have so many different avenues to go with 5 parsecs. And that's something I wanted to say in this video. You know, it could really accommodate many different tastes of play, right? So I highly recommend, the whole system. I mean, there's not only 5 parsecs, this author has a fantasy version, 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, I believe it's the name. And I bought a bunch of books for that one. And that's the fantasy version. So if you prefer fantasy, well, this author's got you covered. But Bug Hunt, most important things to close up, contact markers. That's the most important rule. I also recommend, if you've played 5 parsecs before, Bug Hunt might seem a little, might make a little more sense to you because it is very similar in other ways to 5 parsecs. But it's a standalone game. So if you just want to start with Bug Hunt, it's going to be a challenging start, but you can if you want to. Also, the important things about Bug Hunt is the contact markers, all the rules surrounding the contact markers. How you move contact markers, it depends on aggression or chance. That's 2d6 dice, and that will determine how and where the contact markers will move. They're always going to move towards your characters. They're always going to want to get into a brawl. And aliens never shoot, although I may change that in the future a little bit with very short range, like acid bursts or something. Yeah, make it harder for myself, of course. And a line of sight, there's a couple of different things you have to keep in mind when keeping line of sight in Bug Hunt, but most of the things are very similar in both games. Determining cover and the use of cover is slightly different. It feels slightly different in both games because of the alien behavior. And there are other things. There are a lot of other rules. Bug Hunt has its own weapons, equipment. You have your own campaign structure for the turns. The turn, and that's very important. Campaign structure and the turns is different between both games. So you have a different campaign structure designed to keep up with the theme of Bug Hunt. You know, just new stuff, new ways of creating your character, new gear and things like that you can give your characters, all themed for, you know, Bug Hunt. Okay, and that's about it. That's all I wanted to say about Bug Hunt. There will be more game chat videos in the future, and it's basically me sitting here in our new office and having a little coffee with you guys and just discussing a game. And I have quite a few games on the list to discuss. There's a couple of new games that I will be announcing this week in the Martin and Julie chat, and we will have a little video on those games because they're very, very cool. So keep out for that. Thank you guys for everything, and welcome new subscribers. We'll talk very soon. And I hope you like this little informal chat. Okay, so hope it helps somehow, and more 5 parsecs from home coming soon. We will announce game schedule and everything else in the Martin and Julie chat. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you guys very soon with another cup of coffee.